So to get started with the leap motion and to learn the JavaScript for it, I've decided to start with a basic tutorial which will enable me to learn how to track the various different elements that the leap motion can detect, including fingers, gestures, how many hands are present, that kind of information. So to do this, I'm using this tutorial that's available on the developer section of the official website. And I've first created a HTML document where all my code will be typed, and then I've also got Google Chrome open so that I can check to see what it looks like and get a feed of all the information. So start the tutorial.
Hi, I'm Sean from Leap Motion. This is the Getting Started guide with Leap.js. We're going to be using our Leap Motion version 2 of the Skeletal API to complete this demonstration. So before we get started with the tutorial, what we're going to do today is we're going to write a simple beginner app which takes advantage of the V2 skeletal beta tracking features. And the things we'll be using are the JavaScript API to interface with Leap Motion, and also we'll also need the version 2 of the core services installed, which is available at developer.leapmotion.com. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So we'll go ahead and we have our browser window open in our coding window. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and paste in an example shell, which showcases the output window that we're going to render our data into. So you can see there's a quick view of the output. Very, very exciting.
So I'll just get started by entering that information into my own. It's going to prove a little bit difficult because my computer's so small. Head, body. And create a div called output. Haven't used JavaScript very much, so forgive me being rather slow.
So from here, what we're going to do then is we're going to go ahead and include our beta version of the JavaScript API for Leap.js. You'll notice too that this is 0.6.0.
So I've got the page already open for that, 0.6.4, so it's obviously been updated since the video was made. And he's used the min version. Okay.
And we just want to make sure that's the correct version before we get going, because that works with version 2. And we'll go ahead and stub out the JavaScript portion of our application. Again, we're writing this.
Okay, script type, text JavaScript. Colours seem to be slightly wrong. Maybe not.
A single HTML block, just to make it a little bit easier to recognize. So the first thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and create a concatenation data function to simplify some of our print statements.
So function concat data ID data. Return ID plus. Plus data plus line break. So that doesn't look right at the moment, but we'll have to.
And after that, we'll get a quick reference to the DOM element for the output because we'll be writing HTML to it. We'll create some helper, frame string, hand string, and finger string variables, and we'll just use those as we loop through the animation data. Next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and set.
So he's moved on quite a lot there. I will begin by entering this information here, the variables. So output is document. Dot get element by ID. And then output. So var frame string, hand string, and finger string. Okay, and then var hand finger, and then there's another one, var options equals enable gesture true. Just check I got that right. Gestures, okay. Alright. Continue playing.
As frame data is coming in, we'll go ahead and iterate over it, and we'll print out some hand data, we'll print out some finger data, and then we'll showcase some v2 functionality. So let's go ahead and get the loop set up. And once we do that, we'll go ahead and refresh.
Get the loop set up. Leap.loop options function frame. So leap.loop options function frame.
So nothing is happening right now, which is okay. Go ahead and see if we can add in some frame data output. So we'll go and use our concat data method to print out the frame ID. And you can see again too, all this is going to print out is the ID of the data. Nothing too fancy. And from here, we're going to go ahead and print out the number of hands coming in on the frame, and also the number of fingers too.
Let's do that next. So frame string equals concat data. This goes inside the loop. Frame string concat data. Frame ID. Comma frame dot ID. I got that right. Yep, and then the same again. Got a plus this time, and for num hands, and with a length at the end. Frame string equals concat data. Num underscore hands, and then it was frame dot hands dot length, and then the next one is the same but for the fingers. Let's paste that. Oh, wrong one. Fingers. Frame dot fingers dot length. Check I got that right. Yep.
After we do this, let's go ahead and add a quick line break for clarity. Let's go ahead and set the outputs inner HTML to the frame string. And this will just go ahead.
Okay. So, add a line break. and the output dot HTML then equals frame string. Yeah.
And basically render that to the screen. But before we do that, so I want to go ahead and plug in the Leap Motion device.
Alright, I've already got that plugged in.
So we've got the Leap Motion controller plugged in. And next thing we'll do is we'll open up the visualizer, which will give us a live look of our hands with respect to what the Leap Motion sees. So we'll size down the window a little bit to give some more room. Hit the H key to bring up the options, and then press the minus key to zoom out. And then you see if we stick our hands in, we'll have a nice hand model, which is this one with V2. And you can see we have two great hands that have joints attached to them, have fingers, and we are looking good.
Okay, just check that out. So we've got that. So if we go here to the visualizer, make the window a bit smaller. Then minus, and hopefully, there we go. You can see that. Zoom it in a bit. There we go. And it kind of draws a pattern where the fingers are, allows you to see the different joints, different gestures. So now that the code is ready and the visualizer is open, I'll just hit refresh in the browser window, and hopefully the data will appear showing some of the tracking information from the Leap Motion. And just bringing up the diagnostic viewer, you can see that it's counting up the number of frames and can detect the number of hands and the number of fingers. Oh, seems it has to be on the browser window now. Just move this over a bit. So you can see there, I've got 5 fingers detected, 1 hand, and then if I bring my other hand in, it correctly has 2 hands and 10 fingers. To save time, I have skipped ahead and entered a bit more of the code from the tutorial, entering this into my HTML document as JavaScript. What it does is, if you look at this section here, it's a for loop that will detect what hand is being placed in front of the Leap Motion, whether it's the left or the right. So if I open the visualizer and click refresh on my browser window, now when I place the left hand over, it tells me that the hand type is left, equally hand type right, and if I place both over, then it brings up both left and right hand types. Stepping a little further forward, I have added some additional code that will now be able to detect some particular gestures that are done within the Leap Motion. These are to grab, which is the fist gesture, and to pinch, which is the forefinger touching the thumb. It will be able to detect the strength of these gestures between 0 and 1. In addition to this, a confidence statement has been entered based on how well the hands are being detected. So 0 is they're not being detected very well at all, whilst 1 is a really good clear detection. So bringing forward the visualizer again and hitting refresh in my browser window, you can now see that some of there's 3 additional things being tracked: pinch strength, grab strength, and confidence. So if I do the various gestures, my left hand here, grab is now at 1 with my fist shape right there, and now if I pinch my right hand, you're getting a 1 response there from the pinch strength, the forefinger touching my thumb. Confidence, meanwhile, putting it at about the optimum level there. I'm getting a 1 rating there for my right hand, whilst if I pull it back, you can see the number drop until it hits near about 0. I'm now on the final part of the video, and I've entered quite a lot of code for this section, now focusing on the fingers. So to start with, 2 additional functions were added. The first function specifies each of the 5 fingers, so you enter the name for the thumb, the index, the middle, the ring, and the pinky. The second function is to determine the 3 position coordinates, so X, Y, and Z, when you're using your hands in front of the leap motion. Using these functions further down, this section of code here then allows me to use another for loop and apply these coordinates to each of the fingers, having this information show up within my browser window. So if I now go and open the visualizer again, and then go to my browser window, hopefully when I put my hands over it, I should now get in real time the coordinates for each of the 5 fingers on my hands. So as you can see there, a lot more information is now on show, detailing the current coordinates of each of my 5 fingers, and this is the fingertip, the the joint below that, and then the metacarp, or the joint nearest to the knuckle. So there's 3 different joints on each of the fingers being detected, so quite a lot of information there. And though in the video it showed this updating in real time, judging by the values above regarding just the number of hands and fingers being present within the leap motion's range of view, there does seem to be quite a lot of lag, so this would explain why this isn't updating in real time in my case. But regardless, clicking the refresh button does change the values, so I can confirm that it is working. And that's the end of this tutorial for now, so hopefully I will be able to move on to something a little more challenging for my next example.